That is the essential part of human birth. Human birth is primarily oriented, designed to know our own nature. Hearing it seems very easy, of course. सुनने में अच्छा भी लगता है. But to be able to understand, it can obviously mean a whole lifetime. In the absence of which, one is identified with the body, and being identified with the body, one is outside, looking outside, filling our own self, fulfilling ourselves with an idea that the pursuit of my happiness is what I'm looking outside. So, what prevents us? Let's just come straight to the point. What prevents us? Knowing that human birth is very valuable and it is a rare gift, it is a rare upadhi earned by one's own past karma, no doubt. Yet, knowing this fact, most of us are not aware, are not fully perceptive of samsara chakram. शास्त्र बहुत तरीके से हमें ये बताता है, but it needs a little reflection. It needs a little contemplation. It needs, first and foremost, an acceptance. It needs an acceptance from oneself about the Shastra, what it is saying, Shraddha, in the Shastra. As a result of which, that Shraddha puts us into accepting what Shastra says and what is Punarapi Jananam. Bhaj Govindam will also talk about it. Samsara Chakram. Most 99.9, as I was saying, are going to be identified with the body, with the sense of मैं, and we will be centered in the world, fulfilling our desires. अर्जुन ने प्रश्न जो पूछा है वो हमारे लिए कैसे important है? How is it or why is it that even if I have Shraddha and I accept that this birth is rare and I need to definitely know myself, फिर भी क्यों होता है कि हम सीधे रास्ते, direct perception, why are we able to not be steadfast in this pursuit of knowing our own self in a way that one lifetime is enough to gain moksha? One lifetime's effort is enough to give us freedom from this samsara chakra. क्यों है ये? Shastra says, Krishna says here, the reason for it is ये जो शरीर से जुड़ के हमारे अंदर इच्छाएं बनी हैं, इच्छाएं हैं, और ये इच्छाएं सिर्फ वस्तुओं को लेके या seeing it from just immediate superficial objects, people, it's not just that much. These desires are rooted very intricately, deeply in our own subconscious, in English term, and call it subconscious, or call it antakaran. They are embedded by our own conclusions of who I want, what I want in life, who I am. Past me, as I have thought, I have sought, and those collected impressions are now today my own nature. He says these desires are the ones that are obstructing us. They are becoming pratibandhakas. They are becoming they are clouding avratam. They are clouding our own shraddha based acquired knowledge. Even that, they are clouding it. How do they cloud it? He said, as three examples, in a very mild way. First, means you can know your own jnanam, your buddhi is there, but it is partly obscured. And with a little bit more reflection or satsang or a little bit of reminder, little bit of push, and your buddhi wakes up again. Just like fire and smoke. Its inherent nature of light, knowledge has light, buddhi is light, discernment, viveka shakti is there, but it gets clouded for a little while by the rise of the desire, and that is then now obstructing your viveka shakti for a little time. थोड़ी देर के लिए you are confused for a little while, you put in a little effort or go for a walk and clear your head. We have our own ways of clearing our heads. Shake yourself, clear your head, and then you realize that you are back on your path of dharma, you are back on your path of viveka, you're not deterred. Little purusharth clears it. But sometimes these desires are very deep. They're deeper than this. In that case, you need a little more effort. Just a walk or some reminder is not adequate. It needs a repeated effort of keeping the desire under control. बार बार करना पड़ता है. थोड़ा सा शेक करके नहीं होता है, वो वापस आ जाता है. The nature of buddhi is fairly covered, but it is not completely unknown. But the desires are very powerful that they make it a hostage for a predominant phase. You need more rubbing, you need more sadhana, you need a consistent vairagyam, pratipaksha, shama, dama, titiksha for a length of time before the desire weakens and your available buddhi becomes available to you. Then there is the third stage where it is very, very strong. It is so strong that actual nature of that desire is not even understood. You can't see it. आपको पता नहीं है वो फोर्स इतना है, कहाँ जाके कहाँ से वो इच्छा बनी है, कैसे बनी है, किस चीज की इच्छा है, most of it is unknown to you. All that you know is that you find yourself acting on it helplessly, impulsively. You're not able to stop yourself. आपको लग रहा है कि ये गलत है, लोग आपको बता रहे हैं, आपको ठीक भी लगता है जब लोग बताते हैं, लेकिन आप अपने आप को रोक नहीं पाते, वो कर्म में आपको डाल देता है. That is where the embryo or the fetus is covered in the womb entirely. You can't see it. The tatparyam, the essence of giving these three examples is that in the third case, you may not find any change despite a lot of sadhana for a long period of time sometimes. आप कर रहे हो सब जो कह रहे हैं, शास्त्र में कहा है, धार्मिक लाइफ, doing your karma and upasanas, whatever you are designed for, whatever suits you. You are doing whatever good is to be done in the world as best. But the desires are powerful still. They take you in the world. That will take the longest time, and only in time. That is why they say, here is why they say it will be anugraha that you will cross your desire over. You will be able to be freed of that desire. What time it takes, one doesn't know. These three things are what are obstructing. Kama is that word. Desire, passion, obsession. Understood by the repetitiveness of thought. मुझे क्या चाहिए, मेरे मन में जो थॉट्स हैं, विचार चलता है, मेरा मन कहाँ जा रहा है, मेरे मन में क्या गति है, मेरे मन में क्या चल रहा है, लेट्स पुट, मेरे मन में क्या चल रहा है, क्या है जो हम प्रेरित हो रहे हैं, किस चीज से हम उत्सुक हो रहे हैं, किस चीज से हम खिंच रहे हैं. All these are indicators. When these become, no, not when, these, he says, are your enemies. That is your enemy, which is preventing you from being steadfast in your pursuit of your own Atmagyan, in the pursuit of your nature. They are becoming your obstacles. Karam Yog क्यों नहीं हो रहा? The topic is Karam Yog, third chapter. Karam Yog क्यों नहीं हो रहा? In spite of everything that has been said, understood. ईश्वर अर्पण क्यों नहीं हो रहा? प्रसाद बुद्धि क्यों नहीं हो रही? Ask that question. प्रसाद बुद्धि क्यों नहीं है? ईश्वर अर्पण क्यों नहीं है? जानते हुए कि मुझे अपने धर्म के पालन करने हैं, क्यों नहीं हम कर पा रहे? There is one मुख्य, one main, incidentally many, as he said in the previous classes we saw. There are many reasons you can come up, but all of them will come down to this desire, which is becoming your main foe, which is your foe. Now, having said that, I don't know how much did we do last time. Yeah, we did this, right? Yeah, we did this. So now we have to do the 40th verse. So what is that reason with which he says the desires are becoming a foe? ये तो जान लिया. I'm repeating myself, connecting my words again. Through 39th verse, say 37 to 39th, Krishna is saying, your own knowledge acquired is not being implemented because of desire. And this desire comes out as anger also. These desires can be mild, they can be moderate, or they are severe blockages. They become mild blockage, they become moderate blockage, or they are a severe blockage, depending on the strength of your desire. Now, the foe is known. जान लिया काम है ये. And काम, as we have understood, है तो subconscious अंतकरण में, expressing itself as likes and dislikes. We can understand that. But now, where exactly are they to be addressed, to be handled? How are they to be handled? क्या करें? अब हमको पता चल गया वैरी कौन है, इच्छाएं हैं हमारी, पता चल गया. Now, what is to be done about it? ये इच्छा रहती कहाँ है? क्या आधार है इनका? क्या अधिष्ठान है? Is what Shankara uses the word. Where are they residing? Where are they getting strength from? Who's supporting them? हमारे अंदर ऐसा क्या है which is supporting these desires? We have desires is one thing. We have built them from the past avidya state is another thing. But what is supporting these desires now? Kim adhisthanaha? What is that adhishthan? What is that ashray? Jab punaha, again, kamaha. काम का आश्रय क्या है? अधिष्ठान क्या है? कहाँ है ये काम? Which is ज्ञानस्य avaranattvena vairi, which becomes like an avaranam on ज्ञान. ज्ञान का आवरण है वो, ज्ञान पे आवरण है, ज्ञान को छुपा रहा है, अपने ज्ञान को दबा रहा है is the right word. छुपाना is probably not the right word. उसको ढक रहा है means उसको उसको दबा रहा है, means उठने नहीं दे. Like last time we said the example that when you are seed placed in the soil and that ankur comes, sapling comes, जब वो sapling उठ रहा है but उसके ऊपर कुछ ढका है, दिखता नहीं है sapling. ज्ञान का वो आवरण काम कहाँ है? Which is becoming vairi sarvasya loke, which is the enemy for everyone. इति अपेक्षायाम, ऐसा प्रश्न हम पे आना चाहिए. Having heard so much, now next question logically should arrive in us if we are following the text in the right manner, understanding it correctly. Next question that should come up in us is, where are these desires gaining strength from? Where are they located? Why should you know that? He says, Gyate hi. Indeed, in knowing this, where they are having a placement, Shatroho adhishthane sukhena nirbahanam kartum shakyate. Once you know where they are hiding, कहाँ आश्रय लेके बैठे हैं, छुप जाते हैं ये, कहाँ से हमें कमजोर करते हैं, हमारी बुद्धि को कमजोर करते हैं, कहाँ हमारे मन को बलवान कर देते हैं, ये हमारी इच्छाएं कहाँ छुप जाती है ना, behind which, like you say, if you have to kill your enemy when there is a war and our enemy has the dress code of shrubs and bushes and they go hide behind the bushes. Now, if you don't know where they are, it's a lot of effort. But if you know exactly where they are hiding, you can easily locate them. You can easily find them. Sukhena means aram se, with less effort. Nirbahanam, you can make them ineffective. You can destroy them. You can You can take away the power from them to overcome your thinking. That becomes sukhena kartum shakyate. आप सुख से कर पाओगे. It will become possible. Shakyate means possible. Knowing where these desires are located, where do they operate from, who's supporting them, when you know that in this embodiment, then you will be able to easily identify them and remove remove their power, which hides your own thinking. That he says here now in the 40th verse. कहाँ कहाँ ये छुपे हैं. So, Neetu ji, can you please chant this twice?
Yes, Neetu. Just a minute. 40th verse, right? Indriyani manobuddhiः अस्यादिष्टानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत् येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम् इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः अस्यादिष्टानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत् येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्.
So now here he is giving an important prakriya, as if prakriya means method of negating the lower. What is going to be your tool, your weapon to deal with the desire? That is shown here. Indriyani, senses. Manaha, buddhihi, mind and buddhi. Asya adhishthanam uchyate. Senses, mind and your buddhi. Asya. Asya would mean what? Asya means this. What would this refer to? What is the context that we are talking on? This desire. Yes, correct. Kama, desire. Buddhi asya adhishthan. डिजायर के काम का इंद्रिय, मन और बुद्धि अधिष्ठान है, ऐसा कहते हैं. इज कॉल्ड एतैहि विमोहयति एष. बाय दीज ओनली, इंद्रिय, मन और बुद्धि, इन्हीं से एषः, दिस, ज्ञानम आवृत्य, the knowledge gets covered. Dehinam, for this, who is the individual. Dehi. I'll just repeat it. The adhishthan, the resting place of these desires, is senses, mind and buddhi. Through these three places where it rests, remains, hides, operates, they cover the knowledge for this individual, to this individual. They cover the knowledge in this individual. These three are the places where you find how to address the desires. Like, for example, as we saw in second chapter, Dhyato Vishayan Pumsaha, which means what? The same thing is said here, but more with the factor of how to control your desire. Now, what really happens when you see something, an object? Any object that you see, इंद्रियों के थ्रू चलता है. So in the 40th verse, he is only saying this much. इंद्रियों में के थ्रू ग्रहण करता है. That what it absorbs, the mind mulls over, the mind starts to think about, engages in repeated thought process. So how are the desires supporting, Indriya supporting the desires? By moving in the realms of its likes and dislikes. Indriyas are supporting the desires by operating towards its own respective objects. How does mind support the desire? By by
its likes and dislikes.
okay, by yes, likes and dislikes. We've said now indriyas are operating. How is mind supporting it?
By constantly thinking about
By
it.
constantly thinking about it again and again. It's thinking about it. Correct. And how is buddhi supporting it? By putting a value to it, by imposing its higher,
By justifying
it, that calling it zaruri hai, acha hai, giving it a value, shobhana adhyasa. By only seeing, Shankara is I think going to say it, the gunas of it, you're only seeing one part of it, the guna of it. That गुण आधार करते हो, आरोप करते हो, अपने विषयों में, आप अपनी इच्छाओं में गुणात्मिक बुद्धि रखते हो. What is गुणात्मिक means? You are only seeing what is good there. You only see a part of it. You only see what you want to see, justifying it. गुणों को आप आरोपित करते हो. That is how buddhi supports it. For this person, so there's hardly anything here. Indriyani mana buddhihi chasya kamasya adhishthanam ashraya uchyate. Etaihi indriyadibhihi ashraihi vimohayati. That's the only thing he expands. काम का अधिष्ठान है इंद्रिय मन और बुद्धि, वही उसका आश्रय है. और इन इंद्रिय मन बुद्धि के आश्रय से ये जो जीव है, इंसान है, मोहित होता है विविधम, in various ways. In various ways, he gets deluded, attracted, and so variously the desire superimposes the knowledge. Achhadyam covers it for this Dehi, who is the Shariri. So in the 40th verse, he's only shown the placement. That 40th and 41st verse, even 42 and 43 till the end now, Krishna is telling us how to get over this vairi. How will you control it? Now, okay. Yeah. I think that's a very simple verse. There should be no problem here. Any questions so far? Otherwise, we'll move to the next verse. Anybody not clear?
Ji, I had a. So I understand the senses and the mind bit, and intellect, like you're saying, has gotten clouded, and that's why the intellect is also playing along. It's also uh, entertaining mental attachments.
Intellect is placing a value to the temporary joys. You can call them attachments.
Okay, okay. So, uh,
I'll
which means that intellect, which is actually supposed to, you know, cut through this fog, itself becomes
That's
uh,
right. Justifying it. So it actually, when it what you see, yeah, according to your likes and dislikes, when the mind is remembering things or reflecting on or repeating things on itself, the intellect is placing the gunas, that's what is justifying, as we saw. सिर्फ एक दृष्टि रखता है, उसको जो अच्छा दिख रहा है सिर्फ वही देख रहा है. So it's not an objective pros and cons. So the intellect has itself become a hostage to your ichha. Intellect is not operating objectively. वो सिर्फ गुणों को दिखा रहा है, ये इसमें अच्छा है, ये इसमें अच्छा है. So there is some buddhi used, but it is only showing what it wants to go along with your mind, which is, you know, wanting to fulfill the desires through the senses.
he doesn't try to do the pratipaksh.
I wanted to bring it. I said, let me. Absolutely correct. So if you're following the Bhaj Govindam also, then you will see how the Pratipaksh will mean what now? You are starting to gain the control back in your hands by doing the Pratipaksha Bhavana. जहाँ आपकी बुद्धि शोभना अध्यासा इम्पोज कर रही है, आप उसको यथार्थम्य देखने की जो कोशिश करते हो, seeing things as they are is keeping your desire under control through Pratipaksha Bhavana, so that your buddhi is diluting the Gunatmika Drishti and having some dosha drishti in that fulfillment, that it seemingly projects, I will be happy after that. Okay, clear? We'll move on to this verse because they go together. Neetaji, can you chant?
Yes. Tasmat tvamindriyan yadau niyam yam ya bharat niyam yam ya bharastar. Sorry.
No? Niyamya
Niyam.
Bharatarshapha.
Niyamya Bharatarshava Papmanam Prajahihyenam Jnana Vijnana Nashanam Tasmatvamindriyan Yadau Niyamyam Bharatarshava Papmanam Prajahihyenam Jnana Vijnana Nashanam.
I'll also repeat this once, very important. Tasmat tvamindriyan yadau niyamya bharatarshapha papmanam prajahihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. So he says, Tasmat, therefore. Now we are coming to the conclusion. I'll just come to your question in a while. Tasmat, therefore. Why is it therefore? Because these desires are resting in your senses, mind, and intellect, and they are your vairi, they are your enemies, they are your shatru. Therefore, what should you do? O Bharatarshapha, O bull amongst the Bharata Vamsha means the strong. You're a strong person. A strong person means strong. Uh, you have the power to control. You're powerful. O Bharatarshava, therefore, Indriyani adau niyamya. Indriyani, all the indriyas. It's in plural. All indriyas adau, first and foremost. पहले नियम्य, नियम में करके, नियम करके, नियम्य, नियम्य, Shankara says vashikritya means अपने exerting control over your indriyas. First and foremost advice is you control your indriya. Simple word. अपने इंद्रियों को कंट्रोल करो. अपने इंद्रियों को पहला आपका जो विल है, पहला आपका जो पुरुषार्थ है, वो आपके इंद्रियों में लगाओ. इंद्रियों को रोको. किस चीज से रोको? What should you stop it from?
विषयों के साथ अटैचमेंट.
हाँ, विषयों की तरफ भागने. अपने अपने रिस्पेक्टिव विषयों की तरफ जो भागते हैं, your first control is stop them there, which is also called dama. In the sadhana chatushtayam, dama, exert dama. Why? Because papmanam, they are the ones that are pushing you to doing what is not to be done. They papacharam, अधर्म में ले जाती हैं. They take you away from swadharm, they attract you to paradharm, and they make you do adharm. Because आचरण आपका पापम हो जाता है. When your desires are strong, when you are seeking fulfillment of your desires, वो आपको push करते हैं to do, abide in things that are not to be done. पापाचारम, पाप आचार, पाप आचरण. आपका आचरण ऐसा हो जाता है जो पाप हो रहा है. कौन करा रहा है ये? कामम, desires. Therefore, इंद्रियाणि आदौ नियम्य, उनको नियम करके, प्रजहि, ही एनम, प्रजहि, giving it up, renouncing it, parityajya. Shankara says, give up these, what causes the papacharam. Give up these desires that are causing the papacharam by controlling your senses. Otherwise, what will they do? Jnana vijnana nashanam. They destroy your knowledge. Gyan means here acquired through Shastra Vidya and Shastra Guru Acharya Upadesha. When you have that knowledge of right and wrong, which is the right knowledge. Paroksha Gyan. Gyan is used as Paroksha Gyan, which you have heard from outside and gained, information based, but it is also your knowledge, but gained from outside. So it's Paroksha Gyan. Vijnana means now it is aparoksh. It's in your anubhav, your own experience. You have understood that knowledge and now you are able to see it also. That's Vijnanam. If you do not give up this foe which destroys, by control of your senses first, it will make you do papam, which will destroy your jnanam and vijnanam. दोनों को वो नाश कर देती है. And what is that? श्रेय प्राप्ति के हेतु है. ज्ञान ज्ञान and vigyan is Shreya Prapti ke hetu. They are the reasons for Shreyas. Therefore, tasmat tvam indriyani adau purvameva niyamya vashikritya bharatarshava. First only you control them. And then otherwise they will take you to your own destruction. So papmanam papacharam kamam prajahihi parityajya enam prakritam vairinam. This is by natural cause, your vairi. Jnana vijnana nashanam jnanam shastratah acharyatascha atmadinam avabodha. So what is that knowledge? As I just said, from paroksha, acharya, shastra acharya based, the आत्मा का जो अवबोध हुआ है, आत्मा का जो ज्ञान आप प्राप्त कर रहे हो, वो नाश हो जाता है. विज्ञानम विशेषतः तत् अर्थ अनुभवः. When you've understood the meaning yourself and that is your knowledge, that subjective understanding is vijnanam, दोनों का नाश हो जाता है. तयोः, both of them, ज्ञान विज्ञानयोः श्रेयः प्राप्ति हेतवः, which otherwise that gyan would be taking you to your shreyas. नाशनम नाशकरम, उसका नाश कर देता है. प्रजहि आत्मनः परित्यज्य ityartha. Therefore, by your own self, give it up. I'll give a simple, by your own self is very important here. Atmanaha parityajya. On your own, give it up. Give up. Why? For example, if you do not give it up yourself, then nature will take it away from you. Like, for example, if you have diabetes, what happens? You want sugar. If you do not give up sugar on your own, what will happen? The doctor's prescription will follow. You will have to give it up anyway. So, before nature puts a situation where you are supposed to be giving up those desires, you will be made to give up the desire. Better to give them up ourselves. That is the idea. Now, the next verse is what is important. I'm covering that now because this is Indriyani Adav Niyamya. इंद्रियों को पहले नियम करके कामम शत्रुम जहीहि इति उक्तम. You have said this kamam, desire which is the enemy, give it up by the control of the senses. Tatra kim ashrayah kama jahyat iti. What is that ashray now from the purusharth that I will be putting in? How can I give it up? Why is it from indriya that I start the control? How can I do that? What should I depend upon? इच्छाएं कहाँ है? इंद्रियों में, मन में, बुद्धि में. So far, so we are true. Okay, here. Where are the desires? He said in your senses, in your mind, and in your buddhi. Now, here, senses, mind, and buddhi itself are the ones that have desires. They are the places of operation of desire. Then, how am I to control the senses? किसका आश्रय लूं मैं? हम कह तो रहे हैं इंद्रियों को वश में करो, मगर what is that ashray? What is that base from where I can execute my control? कुछ तो पकड़ना पड़ेगा ना मुझको, so that I can withdraw it from the other end. So if my indriyas have to be withdrawn, where should I hold myself that I can withdraw the indriya? मेरे में अब क्या रह गया? Is the question clear? Because then the answer will be beautiful. How will I withdraw myself? Because my senses, my mind, and my buddhi are completely overpowered by my desires. Therefore, where do I stand internally in my anchor? What anchor do I make? कहाँ जुड़ूं मैं? किसके साथ जुड़ूं मैं? जिसके साथ जुड़ने से I will be able to control that. Yeah, it is. How can I do that? That's the real struggle. Why do we again and again become weak in our control? हम थोड़ा सा करते हैं because we rely on willpower. Willpower is not going to last forever. Willpower will exhaust at some point. थक जाते हैं हम. You cannot hold something. Very good, Neha. You cannot hold something for a long time. अपनी इच्छाओं के अगेंस्ट आप कुछ करोगे तो आप बहुत देर तक सब नहीं कर पाओगे. Sometime you will feel exhausted by it. So, where should I stand? And that is a very important verse here. Neetu ji, please.
Yes,
Can you, or
sorry
should
for
I do
making
that
so many.
first?
No, I
No.
want to do it. Making so many
No
mistakes.
problem,
but-
please. Don't say sorry. It's all a practice. That's all. You're doing it very well.
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनस्सस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनस्सस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः.
This manasastu, that ukar is short. So don't lengthen it. Manasastu para buddhihi. Not
Okay, manasastu para buddhihi.
Right. Yeah, correct.
Buddhi. Okay.
Yeah, then the meter will fall also well. Okay. So now he is talking of very important thing. आप किसको पकड़ के किसको कंट्रोल करोगे, कैसे कंट्रोल करोगे? First he gives a hierarchy. What is a hierarchy? इंद्रियाणि पराणि आहुः इंद्रियेभ्यः. Indriyani are the senses. Parani, higher. In the hierarchy, the senses are higher than what? Their sense objects. Indriyebhyaha. Whatever are the, no, not indriya. From the sense objects, senses are higher. First. Indriyebhyaha param manaha. From these senses, mind is higher. Para hai. Para means not beyond, but higher. We'll come to that. Man, manaha tu para buddhi. मन से परे बुद्धि है. बुद्धेः परतः तु सः. And that saha, what is that saha? Shankara says is Atma, straight away. That saha, Atma, is paraha than buddhi. So, from the sense objects, though here he is not used as sense objects, in Katha Upanishad, the same verse comes, and there we see this. Indriyebhyah parahi artha. There he says artha means sense objects. From the sense object, senses are para, higher. Arthebhyah, he artha, arthebhyah, indriyebhyah param manaha. And from indriyas, mind is higher. Manaha para buddhihi. Mind is lower to buddhi. Buddhehe atma. Mahan paraha. Mahan here is mahat, which he continues in the next verse. But atma is paraha to buddhi. So that saha in Bhagavad Gita is, this verse is actually taken from Katha Upanishad. From the Katha Upanishad, being the Shruti Praman, Krishna has used a few verses from some Shrutis wherever it's very important to say. That hierarchy is clear. Sense objects to senses, senses to mind, mind to buddhi, para to that. Can be explained in many ways, but here is one which you see in Triktrishya, the very first verse. Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik. What is Rupam? Form. Include color, doesn't matter. Rupam Drishyam. All form and color is Drishyam. देखा जाता है, दिखता है. किससे दिखता है? कौन देख रहा है?
Eyes.
लोचनम दृक्. Eyes are the drik, seer. So color and form are seen, drishyam. Drishyam is the word which is external, which is limited, which can be objectified, which importantly cannot know itself by itself. उसको कौन जान रहा है? कलर एंड फॉर्म को कलर एंड फॉर्म नहीं जानता. उसको जानने वाला कौन है?
मन.
बाद में. Here context is, how do you know them? What is the instrument to know color and form? That is eyes. Lochanam drik. But is it the final seer? Eyes themselves get seen. Tat drishyam. Lochanam is also drishyam. Drik tu. Indeed, the drik here is manasam, mind. So eyes means ears, tongue, taste, all indriyas. All the indriyas are seen by the mind. Means in the mind, in the antakaranam. Is this antakaranam the final seer? Drik, because senses are seen. Drishyam. दृक है मन. तो जो ये दृक मन है, क्या ये दृक फाइनल है? मन में भी खूब वृत्तिज आती हैं. दृश्या धीवृत्तयः. These various thoughts that you have in the mind, dhi, buddhi, is the drik there. But all these thoughts, even if you take them as mind and intellect as one, antakaran, all of them are seen by what? Sakshi. Drik eva. That Sakshi is the drik. And now is this Sakshi becoming this known, the seer, the seen? Natu drishyate. It never becomes the seer, seen by another seer. That is the param. That is the highest. That highest, he says here, paratahatu saha. That is the highest. Now, what do? He says, what is the basic principle of this? Is called a paratva prakriya. Paratva prakriya means the higher and higher. Para. That means with the stand on the higher and negate the lower. ऊपर वाली दृष्टि पे आ जाओ तो नीचे वाले को आप नेति कर सकते हो, छोड़ सकते हो. अगर आप विषयों में बैठे हो तो आप भोग को नहीं छोड़ सकते. विषयों को छोड़ने के लिए आप पहले उनको देखते हो कि ये इंद्रियों के सहारे विषय मेरे पकड़े हैं, तो आप इंद्रियों में बैठते हो. And you start realizing that my indriyas are the ones that are absolutely everywhere. My indriyas are the ones that have the weakness. Therefore, control them from running outside disconnect them with the विषय भोग. विषय भोग से उनको अलग कर दो. Temporary withdraw. When you temporarily withdraw from them, now indriyas themselves are also seen by what? Thought. The rag and dvesh is expressing as the repetition of thought. अब इंद्रियों को अगर आपको उनका रस छोड़ना है तो आपके मन में जो ये कांस्टेंट थॉट्स चल रहे हैं आपको उधर बैठना है. थॉट्स, दीज आर नथिंग बट थॉट्स. इफ यू हैव टू गिव अप द थॉट्स of likes and dislikes, stand on the higher, which is buddhi. Understand how in every one of them they are just likes and dislikes. They mean nothing at the end. Pratipaksha, use the buddhi. But that also is a source of bondage unless and until you stand with Atma. Let the buddhi be attached to Atma. The closest in the prakriya of the koshas also. Saha is Atma. If Atma is known, if you have Atma Gyan, Atma shines itself in your buddhi. And that then guides the mind. उसका कौन सा रस वैलिड है और कौन सा नहीं है. That mind then further tells the indriya, यहाँ जाओ यहाँ नहीं जाओ, ये खाओ ये नहीं खाओ, ये करो ये नहीं करो. And indriya then goes and into its respective objects. Then you are a free person. But if you take the cycle opposite, which is objects are attractive or aversive, I averse them. That attraction that I have pulls my indriyas, pulls my mind, pulls away my buddhi, and it clouds my Atma Vidya. Because now Atma Vidya, I have no standing in. Am I clear? Is this portion clear? Therefore, he says, Indriyani, Shrotradini Pancha, all the 5 indriyas. Deham, Sthulam. It is Sthula, first category. What is Paratva, you will see. It is Sthula. Objects are more grosser than the Indriyas. Indriyas are grosser than the mind. Mind is grosser than Buddhi. Buddhi is grosser than Atma. Sthula hai. What is Sthula? Bahya. Further away from Atma in its hierarchy. Objects are the furthermost. Therefore, they are not self-knowing. They cannot know themselves by themselves. Closest is Buddhi. So from grossest, external to internal. Abhyantara. It comes inside and inside and inside. Closest is Buddhi. Parichinnam. Limited and limited and limited. Buddhi has less limitation, mind is more limited, indriyas are more limited, and objects are certainly very, very limited. Keeping that, Sokshmya Antara Sthitatva. Sukshmata, first category. Antarstitaha, second category. How closer it is to Atma, how subtler it is, and how closer it is. How vyaptitva adi, how pervasive it is. That is parichinnam. Parichinnam is limited, means less pervasive. Objects are hardly pervasive. Objects are limited. Higher than that is indriya. Less limited than objects, but still limited. Some pervasiveness is there, but compared to mind, Indriyas are limited, etc. Atma is all pervasive. This, when you go on doing, parani prakrishtani ahuhu panditaha. All the panditaha, ahu, kaun kehta hai inko? Panditas, those who know. Very clearly, they have said prakrishtani. This is clearly established, this hierarchy. Tatham indriyebhyaha param manaha. So, from Indriya's mind is subtler in the same criteria. Sukshma, Abhyantara, Vyaptitva. Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam. Mind is wavering. In the same manner, Manasaha tu para buddhihi. Buddhi is Nishchayatmika. Single thought. Decisive. Tatha yaha sarva drishyabhyaha buddhi antebhyaha abhyantaraha. In this manner, what is seeing everything, buddhi antebhyaha, inner to buddhi, yam dehinam indriyadibhya ashrayaihi yuktaha kamaha jnana avarana dvarena mohayati iti yuktam buddhehe parataha tu saha. So in this manner, as you go grosser and grosser, the avaran is thicker and thicker. So in the example that we just saw, the three examples, the grossest would be which avaran?
Embryo.
Embryo. Means it completely clouds the buddhi. So grosser it becomes, that means where are you standing in your identity? Now that's why, as we said for people who pursue these full time and interested in the Atma Vidya, वो शरीर की और ज़रूरतों को मिनिमम पे लाके रखते हैं. It's very difficult to convey this in the world. They reduce it to what is necessary. So they'll streamline whatever is non-essential. They will de-identify with it. ज़रूरी नहीं है. So that you are keeping your identification with as subtle as much possible in you. And that is a practice. So he says, since calm is your vairi, which is preventing you from your chitta shuddhi, karma yoga will make you do chitta shuddhi. लेकिन कर्म योग करने कौन नहीं दे रहा? काम नहीं करने देता. तो कामनाएं जब कर्म योग नहीं करने देती, तो कामनाओं को कैसे हम कंट्रोल करेंगे? That prakriya he is shown here by the paratva prakriya, which is higher and higher. Start identifying with what is higher. As you keep identifying with whatever is higher in you, when your identification is Atma Vidya, then what is this world of senses? The same has been explained differently also when they say it from the level of kosha. What is the body? Grossest. Annamaya kosha. What is the indriyas? Annamaya and pranamaya kosha. Because through the pranas, your indriyas are active. What is mind? Manomaya kosha. What is buddhi? Vijnanamaya kosha. In Vijnana itself, Anandamaya is added. Paraha to Atma is Paraha. Knowing this, who sees it, he says, with the help of one over the other, control. Why is it important to control? Because otherwise, these desires are clouding your Vivek Buddhi. ज्ञान जानना इतना मुश्किल नहीं है. It's very easy. Self-knowledge is very easy. It's the easiest actually, if I think. Truly speaking, over the years, there's one conclusion I draw. Atma Gyan is the easiest. But to digest it is not so easy. सुनने में तो बहुत आकर्षक लगता है, वेदांत क्यों हमें पकड़ लेता है, हमारे अंतःकरण में अच्छा लगता है, बिकॉज सुनने में तो सही लगता है, अच्छा लगता है, बट the process of identifying with that knowledge and freeing oneself, Gyan should have the capacity to free you. Why does it not come to the point of freeing me? Why is my mind still a samsari? Why does my mind still feel confusions and doubts and anger and jealousies and all these? क्यों मेरा अंतकरण अभी भी दुखी हो जाता है? क्यों मुझे अभी भी अपनी इच्छाओं की पूर्ति में बहुत जरूरत लगती है? When Atma Gyan is so clear, then why? Because Chitta Shuddhi needs to take place. And for Chitta Shuddhi, Karam Yog needs to take place. But why are we not able to be steady in our Karam Yog? Because our calm is residing in all these, through all these outlets, it goes into the world and engages itself in the objects and keeps itself involved with aham and mama. Aham and mama buddhi से विषयों को भोगता है and thereafterwards it is bound by them. Then he says now in 43rd he is concluding, therefore knowing that Atma, O Arjuna, destroy this Kama Rupi Vairi in you. That's your battle. Destroy it, kill it, and overcome this terrible enemy. And by overcoming it, you will steadily keep moving towards your own Atma Swarupa. So there is a question here, do we always know our particular desires in the first place? Their residences come later. No, that's what we said, and we are still continuing to say. We do not normally know the base of our desires. What we can know is where they are expressing as thoughts, our likes and dislikes. But where they are embedded in us, that rag, dvesh, within us that they're embedded, we don't know them. So these likes and dislikes operate from these three sthan. So if we are going to be dependent on these three places, Indriyas, mind, and intellect, to help us overcome our desires, then we will be failing. We won't be able to conquer our desires. We won't grow over. We don't have to conquer them. We have to grow over them. We have to be free of them. We have to be free of the force they have upon us. That freedom will come only when we attach ourselves to the highest, which is Atmavidya. So if we know them, then they become a part of the specific uh, nididhyasan that one can operate to free oneself of the specific ragadvesh, but they get only known at a very later stage. Means when the mind has fairly overcome all the desires, there are very few left which connect you to your jivatvam. They become evident, which are deeply embedded on a shuddha antakaran. They also reveal themselves. Then you are able to negate them. So that is why he says Adav, Indriya Nigraha Adav. Start with Shama and Dama. And then you will conquer it. So pay attention to your conquering of your or overcoming your desires. That's what he says. Okay. Any question on this portion? Otherwise, let's conclude. And tomorrow we should be concluding the chapter. By God's
I have a
grace,
question.
Hanji, yeah, please.
One second. Yeah.
You'll have to be a little louder.
One second. Hello.
Now
Am I
it's
loud
clear.
enough
Yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah.
Yes. So it's the question is on karma yoga, but obviously it does relate to desire at the end. and it's very context specific, but I'm hoping like universal will be coming to the point. So, but the specific situation is so in office, I have a presentation in front of the leadership and the senior management, and that presentation is, and I've been told by the HR that the objective of the presentation is to get in the eye of the senior management, so that the senior management among all the freshers can discover who is, say, more committed, more talented, or more creative in their approach to the work that we do. So then, matlab, how to approach such a situation where that the objective in itself is to gain recognition. How to sort of approach such a situation. And then just to add to this, matlab, just if you look at the office setup, obviously the main desire that one has is, say, a promotion. And if we look at a promotion, there are two reasons to a promotion. Like, one part of it is the gains, which is, say, a better salary or better recognition. But then other part of it is also to be able to take more responsibility and to be able to do better work, because you get to do better work when you are working at a higher level. And both of them are quite interwoven. If I look at myself, like, I can say that I have both. मतलब आई कैन से कि मेरे को अच्छा काम करने का वो फिर भी ज्यादा ही होगा, बट दूसरा वाला भी है ही. तो when you're approaching the situation, how to discern between the two for the same goal, which is, say, like a better role. But हाँ, मतलब I hope I was able to convey the question.
Firstly, first point. Anybody has anything to add in a nutshell, short? I'm eyeing at those who have had experiences in the corporate sectors and working sectors. If you have been able to translate this knowledge into your own setups, is the question clear to everyone?
Hanji. I think keeping the final customer in view always will always help you make that decision. Ki when I'm doing something, how is it going to impact the final customer?
Right. Absolutely correct. So, broad outline is that. Now, when you are being specific to the context as was asked, if I'm quoting, unquoting your question, if the objective is to come in the eye of the whatever management, I would question myself, is the normal, whatever are the methods that are told to me, are they the only methods to come in the eye of the management? My presentation, if my focus is entirely on delivering the content of the presentation for what it is intended, there has to be a purpose to make that presentation. There must be an objective of a presentation. The presentation objective cannot be to impress the management. The objective of the presentation must be in the presentation. What is the presentation about? If I am able to deliver that presentation the best that that presentation deserves, then a very high chance is that the management will notice me. Why? Because their interest is in who's going to deliver the project or the presentation in this context. Who's delivering that the best? There's a very thin line. Have you got it, Siddharth? The thin line difference.
I did, like, I get it. पर मतलब वही है कि when you are thinking of making it, or like when you are making it, वो मैं क्योंकि मतलब वो मैं आ ही जाता है, वो मैं को हटाना बहुत.
मैं को हटाने की जरूरत नहीं है, मैं के बिना तो आप एक्शन कर ही नहीं पाओगे। मैं को मुझे जोड़ना ऐसे है कि वो उस कर्म की विभूति निकल के आए। कर्म अपना जो भी हम कर रहे हैं, कर्म कर रहे हैं, विच एवर प्रेजेंट, दैट प्रेजेंटेशन शुड स्पीक अबाउट मी. My attention is not on my doing that presentation. My presentation should get an identity with me.
I got it.
If that becomes that kind of, because without a karta anyway you can't do, but where is my focus? So my karta should get reduced so much. I mean, it's not reduced, it is just out of focus. Remember this example we used to give before? For all of you who do not know this, it's a very traditional example. If I'm looking, place a thumb in front of you and look at your thumb. If you look at your thumb, what happens to this background behind? There are, from your eyes, you can see from this periphery to that periphery and everything around, but you are looking at the thumb in focus. Everything else is blurred. But shift your attention to something behind it. The minute you shift your attention to behind it, your thumb becomes out of focus. That is actually how you deal with karta. If my attention is on the karta, I am doing because I have to be noticed or I have to make a presentation, or then my primary focus is me. But if you shift the focus there, you cannot reduce it, you cannot negate it, you cannot destroy it. उसको कुछ भी करने की जरूरत नहीं है, तंग करने की जरूरत नहीं है. आप सिर्फ अपना फोकस शिफ्ट कर दो on what you're doing. Correct. Can't you say that, Vidika? Focus on what the audience needs to know versus showing what you know. There's a fine difference.
Yeah, I think this really helps me because in the course of doing any project, you come across so much information, and then I can tell them so many things that will make me look smart, but doesn't fulfill the objective of delivering what the end person needs to know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the customer. It's the internal management of the team as well. And once you do that, you'll automatically do the second as well.
Correct.
Process. The thoughtfulness comes through.
Absolutely. So it's a fine tweaking. 2, 3, 4 times and you will get that. Well, normally everybody will get it in 2, 3, 4 times. First time, yeah, you may feel it is a little, कैसे होता है, लेकिन शुरुआत करते ही होना शुरू हो जाता है. That's the beauty of it.
I think this, like what Vedika said, helped me a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sort of setting it into context.
That's why.
And about the second question, which is the desire to be at a better post, and then the reasons for that desire sort of interwoven. मैंने भूल ही दिया था. Should the desire be there in the first place or not? क्योंकि वो desire, हाँ, और या वो desire ठीक है पर उसमें भी focus पे ध्यान रखना है.
I think that also Vedika should be able to address very well. This was her question also once upon a time. Everybody, I think I'm ending. Okay, let's continue. Hanji, can you add, Vedika?
Sure, I can try.
Remember this being your question also.
So the thing is, I find it to get promoted, there's always like a bunch of barometers that they assess you on. So I find that really helpful because it helps me to see how I stand and where I need to improve. So that's how I usually use it. And then I like objectively assess myself. And it's nothing wrong to want to get promoted if you're hitting all of those marks and having those conversations with your manager. But that's never been the focus.
It's I don't know. It's hard to explain that. It's never been the focus, because if I'm doing the best work and if I'm like stacking up against all of the KPIs that I'm supposed to hit, somehow promotion cycle becomes a lot easier, and I don't have to constantly think about it.
It becomes an effect.
Yeah, it's just it happens on its own.
Yeah.
Like you have those conversations, but you don't get bothered, and you'll see how it positively impacts your work as well, because you'll be like everywhere, and you'll be able to like contribute to the company, to the client, and also to your personal growth. So
Right.
I would say
So,
just
yeah,
so,
correct. So, in other words, again, the same uh, boils down to the same thing. Is your attention, where is it more on? If I am, of course, promotion is great, no doubt. It gives you more power, it gives you more uh, freedom to do more. In other words, it gives you more position to do more. It gives you a position from where you can do more. But that positioning, if I'm only aiming for that position, I may miss out on what brings me that position. So if my focus is only here and now in the direction towards this, so as she says, maybe I may have some parameters that they assess on. If I have knowledge of that, I keep that in the background, but I keep doing my actions along in that direction. And that is how you are detaching yourself from result orientation with reference to position.
हाँ मतलब I get it I think better now. I think वो practice क्योंकि अभी तो start हुआ अभी तो
हाँ.
मतलब अभी तो these are just like lingering थोड़े से bursts of thoughts
Yes, yes. No, the very first, absolutely. When you do that in the presentation itself, you'll see the difference. The beautiful part is try both. Both means one time, do the way the world says, obsess over it for a little, and see your own framework of mind. Then change the framework of mind the way the Shastras told us. And you see the difference of the two minds. And you know which one gets more productive and which one actually becomes more peaceful and which one gives you more freedom. And there afterwards, then you know the technique. You'll have to see the two differences. And when you follow the Shastra's method, initially there is a temptation, there is a resistance that you have to put up with. It's a leap of faith.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, everyone.
Will we close?
Yes, please.
सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं शोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Just in these all this bhavatu, sarvesham swastir bhavatu, sometimes it goes dirgha again. Bhavatu, it's a very natural tendency for a lot of us. So, swastir bhavatu, shantir
living in
bhavatu.
South India, no? So your dialogue becomes like
Yes.
need to improve on that.
Okay, everyone. So let's end. Thank you so much. I am.
Hari Om, Deepti ji.
Hari
Thank
Om
you,
ji.
Deepti ji. Hari Om.
Dhanyavad, Deepti ji.
Swagatam.